So hi guys, my name is Ganchunan and student ID is AIT2409068. So today me and my teammate will discuss about the critical reflections of fandoms on contemporary social issue. So let's begin to our teams. We have Zixi is our leader, and me, Chunans, and Dongjie, Xiaopei, Dengchuan, and Zhongyi. So continue to the introductions. Okay, let me start explaining the main topic of our presentations, fandoms. In today's fast-changing world, technology and globalizations have changed how people think and live. Because of this, many people no longer follow only traditional values. Instead, they get influenced by the society media and the new culture. One of clear example of this change is fan culture. Being a fan is using to be liking a singer or the actor, but now fandom has grown bigger. People are fans of animes, games, activities, even a fictional character. Fandom is now a part of people identifying. Many fans use platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit to follow and support their idols. Even without meeting them, fans will feel close connections. These strong connections affect how they see themselves in others. It helps some people feel happy and give them a sense of purpose. But at the same time, it also brings us social problems. So we are not just looking at the fandom as a fun activity. We are discussing it as a philosophical issue. We want to understand how fandoms affect belief, behavior, and moral thinking. So here we have is four main goals, which is objective and research questions. The first, we want to understand is if fandoms help people find the real meaning in life or just give a way to avoid the real world problem. Second, we want to explore if strong fans' feelings can turn into the modern day worships. Third, we want to identify the hacker's boundary. We ask when is fandom healthy and when those is becoming a blind loyalty. Lastly, we want to look at the situations where public figures make a mistake or do a bad thing, even when their work is still loved by many people. What should fans do? Yeah. So for the research question, we got our whole discussion with objective. And first, those fandoms really give people existential meanings or just an escape from reality? The next question is, can deep fans devotions become a new kind of worship? The third question is, how do we tell the difference between the real support and the loyalty? The fourth is look at the famous person who have done wrong. If their work is still bring joy to others, is right or wrong to keep to support them? So this question help us to explore the impact of fandoms on the personal identity, the society, and the moral discussions. So that's all to me. I'll pass it to Zhongyi to continue his speech.
My name is Zhongyi, student ID AIT2409131. I'm going to talk about the importance of study fandom. Why does fandom matters? Beyond memes and merchandise, fandom shapes identity, belonging, and our moral compass. Through existentialism, fandom becomes more than entertainment. It's a quest for meaning in a fragmented world. Satchet reminds us we choose our own purpose. Fandom can be self-expression and connection. Yet Kigaretz wants too much devotion might mask true self-discovery. Social contract theory shows fandoms are not just groups, they set shared norms of inclusivity or toxicity, just like fake communities, but driven by emotional fulfillment, not moral codes. Think of how the Me Too movement made fans reconsider support for excuse creators, proving fandom norms can shift. Deontology tells us moral duty must trump over blind loyalty. Defending artists like R. Kelly, despite wrongdoing, challenged our integrity. Kant would argue admiration should never silence ethics. Utilitarianism sees fandom's collective joy and creativity as good, but not when it defends toxic figures like J.K. Rowling or Kanye West. It asks, does pleasures justify harms? Studying fandoms through this lens help us balance admiration with responsibility, so fandoms uplift rather than blinds. I pass to Liu Xiaopei.
Hi everyone, my name is Liu Xiaopei, and my student ID is AIT2409074. My part is the discussion, and my research question is the two sides of fandom, existential fulfillment and source of identity, or distraction from reality. First of all, we talk about the fandom can bring existential fulfillment. According to Viktor Frankl, people who lack meaning in life can experience an existential vacuum, a feeling of emptiness and purposelessness. Fandom can help to fill this void by offering a way to create meaning and achieve existential fulfillment. This supports the Maslow hierarchy of needs. For example, a fan who create artworks and creative content can be respected by others, hence satisfy the needs of esteem. Another example, one can achieve personal growth and learn new skills by joining the fandom activity, like making a video write a paragraph or something else. This can fulfill the needs of self-actualization. Besides, fandom can also fulfill the needs of belonging. This jumps us into the second positive side, which is fandom also serve as a source of identity. Belonging to a fandom community, like a K-pop fan group or a gaming Discord server, can create friendship and emotional connection that transcend geography. This sense of belonging helps people feel valued and less alone. However, fandom has a darker side. It can become a distraction or a form of escapism. Like the ancient Roman idea of greed and circuses, mass entertainment can numb people, keeping them from facing real problems or questioning injustice. For students, fandom can be risky. It can lead to obsessive behavior, loss of focus on studies, and exposure to toxic online environments such as cyberbullying and distorted values. On a broader scale, fandom can foster a culture of consumerism, like a people who spend a lot of money can only claim to be a fans, and also the culture of hedonism, which can easily distract a person from the reality and stifle the possibility of the freedom of choice of an individual. Therefore, we had to find a balance of the fandom. It is like a double-edged sword. It can enrich our life, or it can lead us to escape reality. We need to approach fandom mindfully and reflectively, and also stay away of its potential to distract us from our deeper goals and values. That's all from my part. I will pass it to the next person. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lion J. My student ID is AIT 2409071. For my part, I'll answer the question, can intense fan devotion function as a form of modern secular worship? So to answer this question, we'll first look at the parallels or functionalities between traditional worship and fandoms. And after answering the question, I'll provide some philosophical implications for this. So for the similarities or parallels, we have beneficiary of loyalty, which is because both traditional worship and fandoms have entities that the followers or fans are extremely devoted towards. So for example, two people of different religions or different fans of different characters may argue with each other because of how devoted and loyal they are. So that is a direct comparison. Moving on, we have source of identity. So for the traditional worship, they tend to have literature that dictates that. So how someone should evaluate situations, how they should act, how they should live their lives. So and for fandom, this could look like someone resonating to a certain celebrity or fictional character, and they model themselves over those characters or celebrities. So both gives a person identity. So lastly, we have source of community, which is basically because since traditional worship and fandoms both create a multitude of people of similar identities, they tend to converge into a singular community where they feel more belong. Yeah. So because of these similarities and functionalities, I would say, or we would say, that fandoms or intense fan devotion do function as a form of modern secular worship, because the only difference between fandoms and traditional worship is that there's no divine entity within it. So some of the philosophical implications is, firstly, existentialism. So since my teammate has gone through this, I'm not going into detail, but there's one thing I'd like to point out, which is the thing about bad faith. So existentialism is the idea that you should pursue purpose in a meaningless universe, right? And you have to be fully responsible of your actions in this regard. So some contradiction is that sometimes people get confused and they conform towards their own fandoms, which is actually against the ideas of existentialism. Yeah. So that's one contradiction. Moving on, we have social contract theory. So basically, social contract theory states or explains how individuals form societies, or at least tend to form societies by giving up certain freedoms so that they can have order and protection. Yeah. So for fandoms, they tend to give up a certain level of freedom so that they can actually maintain order within the fandoms. So for example, a football fan who doesn't support their football club for the whole process of the season, regardless good or bad, will get excluded for the most part. So that's an example. Moving on, we have postmodernism, which basically is the idea that reality exists depending on the perspective of an individual, and it only exists when it is from the perspective of a sentient being. So for fandoms, this is actually very relevant, because the entities of worship of fandoms are totally like meaningless, if you will. They don't have any intrinsic value within them, and the only reason they are worshipped is because of the perspectives of their fans evaluating those entities as valuable according to themselves, right? So that is the implication for postmodernism, and that's all from me. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Gauzy, and my student ID is AIT 2409069. Moving on, I'll be discussing on the topic about drawing the ethical line between meaningful admiration and blind loyalty. As you can see here in the graphic, the distance between ethical fandom and blind loyalty is very close and vague. Ethical fandom provides sense of identity, emotional fulfillment, and encourage creativity as well as social engagement, which can boost the well-being of a society. On the other hand though, blind loyalty diminishes the weight of morality, ethics, and laws, which can threaten the stability of the society. Therefore, we will be exploring a few topics on blind loyalty and learn how to differentiate meaningful admiration from blind loyalty. First of all, we need to clearly understand what is considered as blind loyalty. Blind loyalty refers to unwavering faithfulness to individual, group, or ideology regardless of ethical concerns. Some examples of behaviors of victims of blind loyalty are the fans rely on the public figures to define their self-worth, which means they view those celebrities as their role model, and they will try to excuse their idol's misconduct, even if it's morally questionable. Blind loyalty can be caused by the need for identity and belonging. Just as what I mentioned before, the fans put their beliefs on those celebrities, and when those celebrities are criticized, the fans will feel like they are also being attacked. Besides, mind manipulation can also cause blind loyalty, where the celebrities gain support from the fans by adopting curated personas and forging narratives. If blind loyalty becomes a deep-rooted culture, it can result in negative impacts on the society, such as moral decay, where the fans normalize toxic behaviors and hooliganism just to defend their subject of loyalty, even against credible criticism. In addition, polarization can occur as people are recklessly fighting for their own respective fandom and are unable to acknowledge each other. Next, we'll be talking about where and how to draw the line for distinguishing ethical fandom from blind loyalty. There are boundaries that we need to follow to prevent blind loyalty, including critical awareness, where we need to make sure the presence of critical thinking in making our judgment. Besides, moral standards needs to be consistent and applies equally to everyone regardless of their social status. We should also ensure our emotional independence and maintain a suitable psychological distance from the celebrities so that we will not grow too attached to them. As for to draw the line, we need to emphasize critical thinking skills by always questioning facts and verifying sources. In addition, law enforcement can be an effective way to prevent blind loyalty, as transparent and strict legal systems can make sure that flawed public figures are always held accountable for their mistakes. We should also access diverse sources of information to learn the context from different perspectives and not just receive desirable information. Finally, we will explore the topic of preventing blind loyalty through the philosophical lens of deontology. Deontology focuses on adherence to rules and duties rather than consequences to determine the morality and correctness of an action. In the context of fandom, deontology can clarify and normalize moral principles to avoid double standards and make sure that every crime deserves their punishment. In addition, deontology also encourages the fans to respect human dignity by being more empathetic and forgiving towards the celebrities and also other fans, as they are also normal human beings. That's all from me. Thank you, and I'll be passing the presentation to Teng Chuan.
Hi, welcome to my part. My name is Wong Teng Chuan and my student ID is AIT24098082, where you can simplify on the top left of my slide. So today I'll be presenting my research question where I break it into two. The first one will be the ethical consequences caused by pursuing flawed public figures, and the second one will be how should the fans respond appropriately towards this kind of flawed figures. So let's proceed. Just ask yourself with some questions. What happened if these fans irrationally supporting a flawed figures and these fans giving in all their trust to the idols without knowing his or her background? So as you can see here, this is the ethical consequences that might be occur. So the first one will be the flawed public figures will develop a sense of superiority where they gain enough of support, they will feel like they are unique, they are different from others, they have a higher hierarchy. So they will use this thinking and their fame to interfere in some controversial topics or even illegal activities. So here we have the example of J.K. Rowling, where she publicly offended the LGBTQ plus community, even though she's not the right person to say anything about this topic, but she still chooses to do this. So it might bring harms to the LGBTQ plus community. So moving on, this is another situation where it is even worse. The flawed figures might take advantage of fans' trust to slander or even harm their own fans to satisfy their own special desire. So here we have another example, which is the Canadian Chinese pop star Chris Wu, who lured those girls' fans, his own girls' fans, to his house, and he get them drunk and sexually assaulted them. And some of the girls are even underage. So this might occur if the fans are blindly pursuing their idols. So these flawed figures will not feeling guilty, as they think like it's not a big deal for me. I'm just harming others. It's not a big deal for me to make mistakes. Anyways, my fans, my loyal fans will still welcome me, will still feel happy to have me, will still accept me in the future. So they think they can still make money in this circle, so it's not a big deal for them if the fans are irrationally, unconditionally supporting them. Moving on, let's talk about how should fans respond. So for me, I think the fans should publicly condemn these flawed figures who have made mistakes and ask those controversial figures to publicly clarify the incident if the judgment has not made yet. So they can maybe ask those controversial figures to come out to justify about the incident. And moving on, they can stop supporting the figure in person or even their works until the incident has subsided. So this action taken is to let them realize how serious is the matter is. So this have a few ways to do it. So maybe they can boycott their concert or stop buying the endorsed products that is endorsed by the respective idols. So that's it for my part. Thank you for listening.
When seen through a philosophical lens, fandom is both a heaven and a hazard. It can inspire meaning and unity, yet slip into unthinking devotion by staying critically and ethically aware. Fans can protect moral integrity, enjoy what they love, and keep fandom as a force for personal growth and positive social change. That's all for our presentation. Thank you.